It's the 98th Giro d'Italia. Heroes, culture, food, drink, and look at that country blessed with beautiful geography, and it's giving us all ready for the Corsa Rosa. 21 days of pain, punishment, pedalling around what most will know and regard as the most beautiful Grand Tour of them all. This is the Giro d'Italia, and the 98th edition clicks into gear. 3 weeks of watching the most beautiful race in the world are on the living monument of a land. Wherever you're watching, hello and a very warm welcome. I'm Rob Hatch. Alongside me today is Brian Smith. Lampre Merida on their way, and they'll start this Giro, one of 22 teams out there. It's 17.6 kilometres along a team time trial route, and as you can see, we're not on the road, we're on a bike path. Brian, today this is rather a different proposition to what we usually see.
It is. This is an old railway. It's been transformed into a bike path all the way into San Remo. It just hugs the coastline all the way along. For those of you viewers that know the Milan-San Remo Classic at the start of the year, this is where obviously that classic does finish. But it doesn't go and land up the climbs. It hugs the coast all the way along. There are some pinch points that we've already seen prior to this programme with Juan Antonio Flecha. But it's going to be super fast, and it's really, really important for a lot of these teams to try and win this and take the first Maglia Rosa, because it's so important for the publicity. But there'll be other teams in this race just thinking of 3 weeks' time of taking that jersey, you know, to the finish. So it'll be a mixture of some strong teams and some strong teams just wanting to get through this team time trial today of 17.6 kilometres, just nice and relaxed and try not lose too much time. This is going to come down to seconds, Robbie, today. It's not going to come down to minutes, and I think in the overall, after 3 weeks, the Giro d'Italia is going to be won by not seconds but possibly minutes.
We shall see how it goes. 21 stages to go. As you can see, the 23rd team time trial in the history of the Giro d'Italia. Teams going off at 5-minute intervals today. Of course, we've seen this bike path is very, very narrow. The team cars can only just fit alongside it at most spots, and there are a couple of sections where the cars aren't even allowed on the route. So if there's a crash today, if something untoward happens, there could be problems already for those who are trying to win the Maglia Rosa at the end of the 3 weeks. Lots of big people to talk about. We've got ʻdʒiːro Mondiale coming up next, Androni after that, and then the first real contenders for the pink jersey. Astana will be fourth off. Teams to watch out for: BMC out at 3:45 local time. That is an hour ahead if you're watching in the United Kingdom, 2 hours ahead of GMT if you're calculating the times wherever you're watching around the world. Team Sky after that at 15:50. 15:55, Ethics Quickstep, another team that could win here, and they've got Rigoberto Urán as a contender for the overall. Orica Green Edge for all you Australian fans out there at 16:25. Katusha, who've just won the Tour de Romandie, both team prize and general classification, at 16:40, and Alberto Contador's Tinkoff Saxo at 16:45, with the last team out, Française des Jeux from France, at a 5:05 local time. Lampre Merida come here then with Przemysław Niemiec, the Polish rider, as their main general classification contender. He's not expected to have any serious options of winning this, but Lampre, they've got a team that is focused a little towards stage hunting and sprints as well. They've got the likes of Ferrari and Modolo for the ends of stages, and Max Riquesi as well. Brian Smith, they can almost choose their sprinters, can't they?
They can, and possibly they'll have a plan to look at possible stages, as you said. Maybe looking at maybe a top 10 performance in the general classification, but they'll be happy to come away with maybe 1, 2, you know, possibly 3 stage wins. But Lampre this year, I think, have done tremendously well. They've already won a few races. They've just won the recent Tour of Turkey. And so they've come here with a very good team. Just in here, you've got the Eritrean, not the Eritrean, the Ethiopian champion just coming through, Grimi. He moved over from the MTN Quebec team into Lampre, and he's been loving it. He actually almost commutes. He goes back to Ethiopia, comes back to race, and then returns to Ethiopia. So he's got a large commute to do his races.
Been racing really well. Scabel Gramai, the Ethiopian road champion, making his Giro debut. He's the African Continental Champion as well. On to ʻdʒiːro Mondiale. They bring their Italian members of the squad here. ʻdʒiːro, a French team, of course, but it is an Italian who's their leader for the general classification. Domenico Pozzovivo, and he's backed up by the likes of Carlos Betancourt from Colombia, who had a good Giro 2 years ago. Didn't race last year. This is a team that needs a few results at the minute. They haven't been having the greatest spring, but they got one yesterday at the 4 days of Dunkirk. Sure, remember you can watch that race on the home of cycling every day. This is the start of the first Grand Tour of the year, though, for âdʒiːro Mondial, the 24th season of existence for this French team. How do you rate Pozzovivo's chances over the 3 weeks, Brian?
Again, he's one of these riders that are going to be, you know, possibly guaranteed top 6. I don't think it's maybe possible for him to get in the top 3, but you never know what happens in the Giro. Anything can happen. We've seen over the history of the Giro. It's just so exciting to watch. AG2R, like you say, have come here with Pozzovivo. They have got Betancourt, who looks to be as if he's riding himself in. So don't be surprised if maybe he pops up for a possible stage win. But again, a tremendous Tour de France for this team last year, coming here with the Italian Pozzovivo to try and do something in the Giro.
âdʒiːro then on their way. You can see how narrow this bike path is. The car only just fitting alongside it at certain points, certainly when you get the barriers on the side of the road and the banners that go over it. And we saw a beautiful first Ligurian beach on the Riviera of the Flowers. It's the Giro d'Italia live on Eurosport. Don't go away. Back in a moment. We're in San Remo, but all the spring feeling has gone. The sun is out. And of course, any nostalgia they might have had for Milan-San Remo disappears when riders focus on the task at hand. It's the start of the Giro, a relatively short but hugely intensive effort over this team time trial. 17.6 kilometres, nothing like the 300-kilometre long Milano-San Remo Classic. Franco Pellizotti leads the Androni Sidamek team. Gianni Savio, direttore sportivo. They didn't ride Tirreno Adriatico this year, but they've taken spods to Spain, France, Malaysia over the past few months. And Brian, I think we'll be seeing them in the breaks, won't we, as usual?
Yes, one of the teams that always in the breaks, always trying to, you know, take their opportunities. And, you know, they've got some strong riders in here, including Franco Pellizotti. Apollonio has joined that team from AG2R, and, you know, he's been showing some signs of form coming into the Giro. Be interesting to see how Sergei Svetkov goes. Again, another strong rider. He's shown well. He's ridden in the American scene over the last couple of years. He's done well in the races over there. So let's see what he can do here. But certainly an opportunist team.
âdʒiːro Mondial then, as we wait for the first time check. We're due to get the time check, an intermediate time check at 9.9 kilometres into the race. And remember, you can interact with us as always here on Eurosport. Hashtag Home of Cycling for all your messages, comments and even predictions on Twitter as well. We've got all this first week this week to talk about exactly who we think might win it, to see how the general contenders go. Many of you wondering where Sean Kelly is, of course, today. Sean is at home with his feet up. He's had the keyhole surgery on his knee. Just a small procedure, and he'll be back with us from the second week here on the Home of Cycling. âdʒiːro Mondial then into their effort. We've got 3 teams on the course at the moment. Lampre were first off, âdʒiːro Mondial here the second. Androni on their way as well. Looking overall, Brian, what do you make of the route? A hard Giro? Not as hard as recent years, perhaps. One thing that the organisation have really tried to do is have less transfers for the riders.
I think that's important. It's very difficult to go a full lap of the country without incurring you know, large transfers. And you know, the further south they go down to is just kind of the top of the boot, and then they head up to pretty much the Dolomites and the Alps over the kind of last week. So it's a difficult tour, but I think there are more stages for sprinters this year than there has been over maybe the last few years. But certainly the last week and the last few days before the flat finish into Milan looks pretty severe. I think the overall contenders will want to be in contention going into that last week. With some big mountains over the stages 19 and 20, and I think that will decide who wins this year's Giro d'Italia.
One thing that always has seemed to play havoc with the Giro in the last few years has been the weather. Thankfully, it's sunny and it's quite a good forecast for the first week. We know that weather forecasts can change and upset us all, but If you remember back to last year, we had the miserable weather in Northern Ireland, which did put on a great Giro start with all the crowds that were out there, but it was hard for the riders. It was hard in the south of Italy. It was absolutely teeming it down with rain when we got to Bari. We had a very crashy, neutralised day, a horrible crash on the way up to Monte Cassino. Riders, and certainly the likes of Contador, Port, Uran and Aru, the big favourites, will be wanting it to stay as dry and warm as possible.
Of course, everybody wants it sunny and dry. That's never the case in the Giro d'Italia. It was the same when I rode some years ago. We were down at almost 40 degrees in the south of Italy, and then 2 centimetres or so at Sestriere. So it's the Giro d'Italia, the way it sits in the this time of year. They always risk some bad weather. We've seen some epic stages over the Gavia, the Stelvio in the past, and that's what makes this race, just so fantastic. It's there's so many Italians in this race, probably more Italians in the Grand Tour than maybe French in the Tour de France or Spanish actually in the Vuelta. So it just adds that certain element to the Giro d'Italia, which makes it very special.
Fabio Aru and Astana, they were the first team out on the course this morning for a final reconnaissance ride. However, their leader, Aru, was nowhere to be seen. 7 riders went out, Tiralongo joining Aru, sitting out the morning ride along the route. Fabio Aru from Sardinia, he was on the podium last year. There's been a lot of talk, a lot of it negative about Astana, given the obvious problems they had off the bike off-season with the doping scandals towards the end of last year. There is Aru, salutes the crowd. Brian Smith, will he be saluting the crowd in Milan in 3 weeks' time as the winner of the Giro?
I think it's going to be very difficult. What he did in the Giro d'Italia and what he did last year was absolutely superb, right? But to come in here with, I think, only about 15 days of racing, the big pressure on him as the team leader, that's a different story altogether. Can he handle this pressure at so early an age? They certainly have given him a very, very strong and experienced team to help him. I think it's still going to be very difficult for Aru. I think a top 3 is possible, but I'm not too sure winning it overall is quite there yet. Maybe next year or the year after.
There's a strong team for Astana. A strong team for today as well. Dario Cataldo, former Team Sky, top Italian time trialist. He's got all the experience of working in what has been a really good team time trial for Sky in the last few years. He actually won the event with Sky 2 years ago. Astana out onto the course then on the first day of this 2015 Giro d'Italia. The Giro starts with a team time trial. Aim of the game to get 5 riders over the line. It's the 5th man who takes the time. And of course, it's so important within those 5, Brian Smith, to keep the general classification contenders there. Otherwise, they don't take that time.
You're exactly right. We just were watching during the break there Astana riding. And Landa was missing a couple of turns. Obviously a difficult start for some of these riders when you've got the big strong men ripping it at the front, and they want to try and keep Landa there. This plan B after Aru, and they don't want to go into this part of the stage and lose some time.
Time for the first finish. Lampre coming up towards that finish. They have 6 men still there. The African Continental Time Trial Champion is still there. It's Gabo Gramai there. Second to last, it is Ethiopian Time Trial Champion's jersey. The finish is on the Lungomare Italo Calvino. A lot of people will know that from watching Milan-San Remo. That was the finish for the last few years before we reverted back to a more traditional finish this year in Via Roma. The final 400 metres are dead straight here. Lampre then looking to set the first time. This is going to be the time that people will be aiming to beat. We don't expect Lampre to be one of the top times at the end of the day. But there are always surprises in this discipline. Everybody trying to stay together, sprinting to the line here. 5th man across the line sets the time, remember? And that is the time. 20:25, an average race speed of 51.722 kilometres per hour. And over 17.6 kilometres. Lampre open the Giro and they set the first time.
That was a fast average, almost 52 kilometres an hour. What is the fastest speed? I think it was Orica Green Edge.
Orica Green Edge, fastest speed in Grand Tour team time trialling. In the Giro d'Italia, the fastest team time trial came in 2006. That was between Piacenza and Cremona. An average speed set by CSC, which is now Tinkoff Saxo, if you look down the list of the change of sponsors and how the teams have gone. That was 56.860. The slowest, well, they haven't told us. Don't want to name and shame anyone. This is what happened a moment ago at the start. We were busy watching the first finish. Nippo Vini Fantini ever so slightly changing their jersey. And Roy Giocattoli there on their way towards the finish as well. Now ʻdʒiːro, a little bit all over the place. We've watched them during the break and what have you. Not really riding through and off too much. They've got one man who's trying to save things for them, really, who's Patrick Gretsch, who's an excellent time trialist. He's by far the best in the team.
He certainly is. We've got Betancourt on the front. There's only 7 riders, 9 started, so only 7 riders left. 3 kilometres to go now, and Betancourt on the front. They're thinking of the 3 weeks. I don't think it's possible for them to finish on a podium on this team time trial, but they're thinking of the bigger picture, so they're just trying to make sure that Pozzovivo, they're number 1 for this race, and actually is number 1 for the Giro d'Italia, doesn't lose so much time.
It's a strange one, Pozzovivo taking number 1, because normally you have the team who won it last year taking number 1, and Nairo Quintana isn't here to defend his jersey. Maybe that's upset the organisers a little, and they've taken the number 1 off Movistar. I'm not sure what's happened there.
Well, normally number 1 goes to the person that won that race last year,
which would be Nairo
Quintana. So Quintana's not here, so what they've decided to do is just do it in alphabetical order. AG2R is the first team, so if you're wanting a team for to maybe get that number 1 in the future, and if you've got maybe 15-20 million, Rob, make sure your team starts with an A, your sponsor, and you might get number 1.
Something to think about when I invest my millions. Got to win them and make them first. One of the narrower sections of the road here. The only downside of this bike path is there isn't too much room on certain parts of it for spectators. There's certainly the parts where we go across the road, we get great views on TV as we see the Diego Rosa fan club, and Diego Rosa moved over from Androni to Astana this year, and he's riding for the Kazakhstani team on the right hand side in the turquoise blue. On the left we have the Trek Factory Racing team. Trek Factory Racing in their white and black uniforms. They come here without any grand general classification ambition. Less a squad cobbled together in the hope of picking up a stage win or two. Now, normally in the team time trial you'd have to watch out for them because of Fabian Cancellara, but he's not here, Brian.
I think traditionally Trek Factory Racing and the teams that this is morphed from is always shown well in team time trial. They have got Giacomo Nizzolo as a very good sprinter, and possibly a points winner in 3 weeks' time. They've also got Boy Van Poppel, Fabio Fellini, and even Marco Coladan for potential stage wins. So I think they've come here searching stage wins, certainly with Nizzolo. Good lead-out train there, and I'm expecting Nizzolo, who was so near but yet so far last year in stage wins in the Giro d'Italia, just been beaten into kind of second and third a lot last year.
ʻdʒiːro Mondial have 7 riders left as they come into the final 400 metres. We shall see if they can beat the best time so far set by Lampre Merida. We're expecting it to be a fast day today, certainly from the teams who necessarily don't have a general classification contender and want to take that risk to take the first pink jersey, but those who do have GC contenders can't afford to sit back. This is ʻdʒiːro Mondial from France, and they're going to set the fastest time out of the 2 we've seen so far. 11 seconds faster than Lampre Merida, so they can leave the throne, back to the bus and prepare for stage 2. There is Domenico Pozzovivo right in the centre of your screen. A lot of work trying to get the time trial back to fit him. He's one of the shorter guys in the peloton. Trek Factory Racing on the way then. San Remo turns pink. First pink jersey will be given out. after a team time trial. It's the 9th time that the first Maglia Rosa will be given out after a TTT. The last 3, Sven Tuff last year, the Canadian for Orica Green Edge, Marco Pinotti in Turin, and the 150th anniversary of the unification of Italy in 2011, and Britain's very own Mark Cavendish in 2009, the last 3 pink jerseys after a TTT. Astana Pro Team setting the fastest time at 9.9 kilometres in. Well, we've already seen Trek Factory Racing out there. This was their start. Good crowds at the start and finish, as you'd expect. The weather will help. Back to Androni. Yet another year of cobbling sponsors together on the back of that blue, white and red jersey. He does a great job, does Gianni Savio every year, or if you're a fan of the 1990s British sketch show, The Fast Show, I prefer to call him Swiss Tony. What do you think?
You know, he's certainly a flamboyant character, and you know, some people obviously like him, some people don't, but you know, when you keep a team like this going over the years, you know, hats off to him for, again, yet another year of, as you say, cobbling the sponsors together and putting a show on the road. At this moment, it's very early on, Astana are the team setting this course of lights. 10:55 at the first time check at 9.9 kilometres, 14 seconds faster than the previous teams. You can just see number 24 on the back, Landa, who recently finished on the podium of Trentino. Trentino won by Richie Porte from Landa, and Leopold Koenig in 3rd place. So Landa showing some good form, but today's team time trial doesn't really suit him. He's more suited to the climbs, and that's why he's kind of sitting on the back, allowing his teammates to keep him there. You heard from Matt White beforehand, this for Orica Green Edge, who for me are the favourites. They're going for the win in the team time trial. They're not worried about looking after general classification contender because they don't have any. You can see Astana here, they're thinking of doing a very good team time trial, but they are trying to look after Aru and Landa. So that's why they are, you go as fast as the weakest rider in your team, right? Some riders shed some riders early on and finish with 6, 7, sometimes 5, but looks as if Astana want to keep the whole team together, look after Landa and make sure he doesn't lose any time.
Trek Factory Racing, a United States-based squad. Thanks for all your contributions already on Twitter. Hashtag Home of Cycling. We love to hear you as always. A couple of people saying yes, Sky's Salvatore Puccio wore the pink jersey after a TTT a couple of years ago, but that was actually the 2nd stage then. This is the 9th time that we see the first pink jersey given out after an opening Giro TTT. 23rd in total, the first ever team time trial was 1937 back in the Giro. It was in Tuscany to Marina di Massa, 60 kilometres.
I was going to say it wouldn't be a short one.
Not back in those days, and average speed still 43.9 kilometres per hour if you think of all the advancements in technology and what have you.
When you consider, Rob, team time trial traditionally was a 4-man team. They had it at various events, the World Road Race Championships. So it was 4 riders over 100 kilometres.
Odd school, isn't it? Androni Sidermek. Sidermek, one of the new sponsors that's been brought on this year. Time to beat is 20 minutes and 14 seconds. The odds for Androni today were 500 to 1 to win this. They're not known for their team time trial skills. They're not known for working too much on the discipline or their equipment. Looks as though they're going to be more or less as respectable as Agio dell'Ella Mondiale and Lampre. Here they come into the final 150 metres, sprinting to the line. Nervous looks around to check that the 5 riders are there, that they haven't left anybody behind because it's so important. A flick of the arm, can we get to the second just a little bit quicker? And they're going to bring 7 riders to the line. It's 20:29, as we expected, the slowest time of the 3, but by no means a disgrace for Androni. Androni Giocattoli, 3rd across, slowest time.
association with the Israel Ministry of Tourism.
Bardiani, they won an amazing 3 stages in the Giro in 2014. Squad headed up by the Reverberi family, the youngest at the Giro, the only one with a single nationality. They're all Italian. BMC on the start ramp on the left-hand side. They're the World Team Time Trial champions, and as such merit real respect in this event. Brought the squad with 4 debutants, the most impressive of whom is 21-year-old Stefan Kung, already a European champion on the road. He's a world champion on the track too, and a World Tour stage winner following an impressive ride in the Tour de Romandie. On the right-hand side, we're back on the finish. That has been until recently the finish of Milan-San Remo. Astana without a finish. Astana into the final few hundred metres, looking to set the fastest time so far. They've kept a lot of men together, the entire squad working really hard, all 9 riders. The time to beat, set by AG Dozella Mondial 2014, and it looks as though they're going to do it quite comfortably. The question is, will it be good enough for the pink jersey at the end of the day? Astana Pro Team racing towards the line. Fabio Aru, their leader, remember. Astana coming to the finish. Pink balloons around, will be there to celebrate victory at the end of the day. Not sure. 19 minutes and 39, an average of 53.740, 35 seconds quicker than the fastest team so far, but not really a surprise. We knew that they'd be stronger here, Brian.
Yeah, they obviously set out with a plan of keeping everybody together. 9 riders finishing there. Aru just cruises across the line in the first place of that team. Already in the course, they were 14 seconds up, and the previous teams in front of them finished with 35 seconds in hand. But there's so many other impressive teams still to come, and they're not thinking of finishing with 9 riders. They're thinking of possibly finishing with maybe 5, 6 riders and trying to win the stage. So I think we're going to see faster time on this course today.
BMC come with Rick Zabel here, who's the youngest rider in the Giro at 21 years of age. His father, Eric Zabel, of course, a former multiple stage winner in Germany. Had his problems with doping back in the day as well. Different era, of course, though, but his son Rick is there racing against a guy who, Eric Zabel, used to race the finish in Alessandro Petacchi, the oldest rider at the Giro. Funny coincidences. Rick Zabel, though, was present to speak to us before this Giro d'Italia, the youngest rider out of the 197 that are at the start today.
Here we are with a young rider, big name in cycling, and Rick Zabel, first time ever Grand Tour racing is the Giro d'Italia. Tell us the opportunities you're looking for here.
Yeah, I'm really excited to do my first Grand Tour. It's a big challenge for me, but yeah, I'm looking forward and I'm happy to do it.
21 years old, you look like of course everybody's going to compare you with your father, but I guess that you want to tell also what your own characteristics are, what type of rider you are. So tell us all the viewers a little bit what kind of rider you are and where you want to be.
Yeah, I think that they compare me with my father is normal, yeah, with his name, and actually I'm a bit the same. I'm also quite fast in the end, and I like hilly races as well, and yeah, for now I'm still looking which races suits me the best, and but for sure if the races my father won I also like, and to be good there in the future would be a dream of me.
Giro d'Italia, San Remo, what does it tell in the family? I mean, your father won San Remo many times. I mean, it's got to be special for you being here.
Yeah, for sure. San Remo has been a special place for my dad and my family. So yeah, for me it's just nice to be here. I'm excited and I'm really happy to start tomorrow.
Thanks, Rick. See you around. Thanks. Cheers.
Nice to hear from Rick Zabel there. Starting a Grand Tour at 21 years of age, huge learning curve, isn't it? 3 weeks of exploring parts of your body and parts of yourself mentally as well that you never knew existed.
I know it's when you do ride your first Grand Tour, you don't know what to expect. Most riders have possibly ridden, you know, maybe 10 days, but 3 weeks is totally different. Your body goes through different feelings in the third week, and I don't think you know, everybody's expecting some of these young riders to do particularly well in the first Grand Tour. They're just looking to finish, get through, get the first Grand Tour in the legs, and then build your strength up for the next few years coming.
BMC Racing had a really sad day yesterday. Darwin Atapuma here at the Giro after being as what an incomprehensibly difficult 48 hours for the Colombian. He sadly lost his mother on Thursday evening, just hours after he revealed that he was engaged to be married to his girlfriend. So have that for a few contrasting emotions. He experienced emotions ranging from one extreme obviously to the other, but he said his mum wanted to see him race at the Giro, and that's how he will stay, vowing to ride to the end in Milan. Team Sky come here with their strongest ever Giro d'Italia lineup. Richie Porte begins his attempt to win a first Grand Tour. They were winners of the Tour de Romandie team time trial just over a week ago, in fact, with a mostly different squad. Porte, Eisel, Enal, Kirienka, Koenig, Nieve, Puccio, Svitsov and Viviani. It is a mightily strong squad. Brian Smith, can they win it?
I think they can. Richie Porte is looking exceptionally well this year already, winning quite a few events. He'll be up against it, but he's got a really, really strong team. Also in there, as you said, Leopold Koenig, 7th in the Tour de France last year, comes into the Giro d'Italia as backup for Richie Porte. So if anything was to happen with Richie Porte, they've got you know, another likely contender there. They've also brought a sprint specialist in Viviani.
Nippo Vini-Fantini have changed their kit slightly for this Giro. It's a new team anyway. They've put a lot more orange and a slightly deeper orange on it this time. We're going to have CCC Sprandi, who are clad in orange. This is the team of the winner from 11 years ago, Damiano Cunego, 2004 winner, the Little Prince. Third position at the moment for Nippo Vini-Fantini. Again, another team who we didn't really expect to be up there today. 44 seconds down. Cunego first across the line for them, as you'd expect. Team Sky starting, got a mightily strong team for the overall. They have a team that could even help Viviani get his first stage win at the Giro. It's all about Richie Porte trying to win over 3 weeks though. And the way that Team Sky have been going in stage races, they've won 6 stage races already, and we're only at the start of May. Richie Porte has won 3 of those. And of course, they are massively, massively strong. Astana setting the best time so far. Interesting to see how BMC go in relation to that. 35 seconds ahead of AG Desert Mondial, the second best team. Barbiani looking behind. And coming through in third position at the intermediate time check. Another team coming here looking to try and do something overall is Ethics Quickstep. And of course, the music's on, the warming up. Tom Bonen at the start of that shot there, ready to make his Giro d'Italia debut. And I know it's something that he is heavily looking forward to.
I think it would be a good motivation for him. He rode the Tour of Turkey for Mark Cavendish and was very successful there. So that was after his bad crash in Paris-Nice, coming back. But just looking here at the rider we were talking about, number 42 on the back for a BMC, and Atapuma. The difficulties that he's been through, he's been allowed to sit at the back of the World Champions BMC, and that's the rider at the back. He's expecting to do really well over the course of the next few weeks, and that's why he's being looked after.
Back in the Astana bus, they've done their business for today. Paolo Giralongo there, one of the two who didn't go on the final reconnaissance this morning, along with Fabio Aru. it's incomprehensible what Darwin Atapuma is going through at the minute, that range and mixture of emotions. Of course, and the distance doesn't help as well. His family all the way back in Colombia. But I know that he's told a few colleagues of ours that he is desperate to get to the end in Milan and race in his mum's memory, really.
But the thing is, Rob, this team is world champions at this discipline. They have got Gilbert, Buchwalter, Burkhardt, Caruso, Dillier, Kung, Moynard, Rick Zabel, who we've just heard from. That's just an exceptionally strong team. Add in Atapuma, just kind of hanging in the back there. He'll be saved for the overall, and they'll be thinking of maybe a stage win for him. But at this moment, is Atapuma going to help this strong team get podium in this team time trial? I don't think he is. So they've gone out with a plan, but is that plan going to have an effect on where they finish at the end of today's stage?
We're about to see how fast Trek Factory Racing have been. On the brakes as they come on to the Lungomare Italo Calvino. Italo Calvino, of course, was a famous writer and resistance fighter. Born in Cuba 1923 to an Italian family. Returned to Sanremo just 2 years later. Lived in several different Italian cities. Died in Siena in 1985. A major Italian novelist in the second half of the 20th century. What sort of story are Trek Factory Racing going to ride here, though? Not one that is going to be the bestseller, I think. Not as quick as Astana already, and that time drifting down towards that of AG Desert Mondial, the French team, who posted a time of 20 minutes and 14 seconds.
And just look at this, Rob, 4 riders, 1 rider just hanging on, so this clock's going to stop on the 5th rider there. So a very difficult team time trial there for Trek Factory Racing. They've obviously thought no overall contender, they're going to try and go for the stage win. And also the fact of keeping ʻdʒiːro, who was just finishing on the left-hand side there, try and keep ʻdʒiːro up there, because with possible time bonuses and sprints, he could possibly take the Mille Rosa in the next few days.
With Team Sky, and on Italy's floral coast, the Riviera dei Fiori, who will be the first pink rosa? That's the question. Will it be somebody from the Sky team? Remember, they did take the Maglia Rosa in stage 2 team time trial 2 years ago. It was when Bradley Wiggins was attempting to win the Giro d'Italia. Of course, that ended in tears, really. Nasty weather and some awful crashes getting in the way there.
There's another situation with Team Sky there. They had Naevi just kind of hanging on the back. As we see BMC going through the most technical part of this course, where you come off this track and go underneath the underpass and up the other side. So very good technique from BMC, keeping everybody together, and Atapuma still hanging on the back there.
I think they were about to set the best time. Certainly looked that way until the graphic and the picture started to break up ever so slightly.
Well, if it said 11:03, Stana went through in 10:55, so 8 seconds of difference by my account between BMC and Astana Pro Cycling, who are our leaders on the finishing line here.
Back onto the bike path, Team Sky. This bike path, of course, you mentioned, Brian, earlier on that it's a disused railway line now. It's a project that was started all the way back in the 1970s. It took them a heck of a long time to realise it and finish it. Opened very, very recently in the last 5 to 10 years. Beautiful route along the Ligurian coast and some stunning, stunning scenery down here. Liguria, the northwest of Italy, very, very close to the French border. We're not far from Nice. And of course, tomorrow we head to Genoa, home of the Genovese Empire back in the day, and of course, where Christopher Columbus first set out on a lot of his explorations, pardon me. Through the train station at Santo Stefano. The old train station, as you can see, they've kept the old station sign very, very close to this beautiful, beautiful route. We've seen the tunnel that they're going at the start. There's some framed photographs of cyclists in there. It's really been taken care of. And if you're ever in the region, I'm sure it's a worthwhile ride. Perhaps not at this speed. You'd want to appreciate the scenery, wouldn't you?
Over 50 k's an hour. Team Sky looking very good here. They've got Nieve, the Spaniards, who's kind of hanging on the back, and they look as if they want to try and keep everybody intact. Just looking at the makeup of this team, they do have one sprinter here, Viviani, and he's got a lead-out man, Bernie Iso. He's the team captain on the road. But apart from this, this team is here purely to help Richie Porte win this year's Giro d'Italia.
They've got very, very good recent past in the team time trial of Team Sky. We know that they're a team that have the best budget. They have a lot of money. They can invest in the technology. The suits you can see as well. Often they're some of the first to test these new sorts of things. Bike manufacturers, Pinarello, work with Jaguar, of course, the car manufacturers as well.
Well, we may not have a lot to shout about in Britain because this is probably the first time, I think, in 16 Giro d'Italia that
first time this century
had a British rider in this race. So for a lot of the British viewers back home, you can support a British team in Team Sky, but unfortunately the first time in several years that we do not have a British rider.
Ethics quick step, Rigoberto Urán. Can he finish on the podium again? Do you think he can actually take that step up and win it? He's the Colombian time trial champion, and he said himself this week that doing well in that very long time trial is not enough alone to win the Giro d'Italia, certainly with the likes of Contador and Porte around. Do you think he can win it?
I think podium, I don't think he can win it. He's certainly got a strong enough team, but when you look at the in his team, he's got Sabatini, Bonin, Kaiser, Meersman. He's not got a team dedicated for him, so does his team think he can win it? I'm not too sure. Otherwise they would have sent other riders. They've even got Peter Vakok. He is here and riding his first Grand Tour, so I don't think they've sent a strong enough team, which I don't believe that Ethics believe that Urán can win this year's Giro d'Italia.
The Italian Bardiani team, second division team from professional continental level that have been invited to this race, one of the 5 wildcard invitations. They've kept a lot of bodies together, but they're struggling to get that 5th man up towards the front. Third best time for them, 24 seconds down on Astana though, and that is perhaps a pleasant surprise for Bardiani supporters. Young Italian squad across the line then, third at the minute. Team Giant Alpecin enjoyed a fairly successful 2014 edition of the Giro d'Italia, picking up 3 stage wins. The team's revealed that once again the goal is to win a stage, whilst also gaining experience for riders who might not have found out what they can do over 21 days. Ethics Quickstep then. It is interesting, that selection of Ethics Quickstep in relation to Rigoberto Urán. I was expecting the likes of Gianluca Brambilla maybe to be there. He was withdrawn the last minute. But he's not there, and we've got Gianni Meersman, who's a sprinter, Tom Bonin. It looks as though that it's Patrick Lefevre and Fitter Peters who've picked the team, really.
Well, it's very a mixed team coming here with potentially stage wins or jersey with Meersman, the points jersey, but very half and half.
Tour of Italy starts in Italy's northwest coastal region of Liguria. The Grand Depart was in Genoa for 3 years, 1980, 1992 and 2004. Once again in Sanremo in 1987. And this is the 11th time we've had a stage finish in Sanremo. So it's not just the Classicissima and spring where we see Sanremo in action. Giro does like to visit. Last time we did visit was a long time ago though. Fans from the Republic of Ireland will remember it. A certain Stephen Roach doing well on his way to that Giro, Tour and World Championship triple in a season. One to watch with BMC Racing coming to the finish. They set one of the best times at the intermediate check. Not the top time. Can they set the top time at the finale though? Finish line is approaching, and what a day it would be if they could get Darwin Atapuma into pink in his mother's memory. He's the number 42, look out for him. The line first, that is the question. The bigger question though is, can they set the best time? I don't think it's going to happen for BMC this year.
It's definitely not going to happen for them. They've just gone past the team at the time of Astana, but it does look as if they have looked after Atapuma. All 9 riders, the world champions, across the finishing line with a time of 19:51, 12 seconds down in Astana. But again, the the ploy here was to keep the whole team together and look after Atapuma, make sure he doesn't lose any time, because he could be a feature when it comes to the final week and possibly podium for BMC.
From a United States team with a Swiss heart to a wholly Swiss team, Yam Cycling on their first year at the World Tour level. It's their first Giro d'Italia. They rode the Tour de France last year. Here we are with Ethics Quickstep, taking on a technical part of the course. Time, though, to go and hear in Italian from one of our top riders out there. Here is Fellini. Second best time at the arrival. Just behind Astana. Did it go well? It was pretty difficult. Of course, it was very narrow, a lot of distraction with people on the side of the roads as well. We worked very hard. We've got to wait for the final result, but I think we'll end up at the end of the day. Of course, we're not favourites, but I think we'll be up there in the top few riders. You're a young team. How are you going to go at the Giro d'Italia? Well, I think that we're a team that have got, with me and ʻdʒiːro, a few stage-winning possibilities. And I think, you know, we're fairly well placed to do that. Cross our fingers and we hope we can do. Good luck and thanks. Juan Antonio Fletcher down there with Fabio Fellini. Juan Antonio showing off his language skills. Of course, he speaks Catalan as well, as a man from Catalonia. Known as Juan Anthony as well as Juan Antonio. Now then,
just watch the rider on the inside there, just very close. Oh, just overshoots that corner, and that's how fast Ethics are going at the moment. 2 seconds up at the 9.9 kilometres. This is the fastest team on the course at this moment in time. Former world champions. They've already lost dello, who doesn't seem to be on good form at this moment, but he'll ride himself in. 8 riders now, and they're looking to try and get a podium today, if not a win in this team time trial.
The rider was very, very close to an unfortunate incident there. Was Fabio Sabatini, who's actually one of Mark Cavendish's big training partners down in Tuscany. Go through another bridge. I was talking about Liguria before and the way the hills just drop into the sea. Good example of it there. Stunning cliff-top villages. Number 62 there is Tom Bonham. It's funny for big Belgian races, isn't it? Because you've got the classics, and then normally it's holiday time in May, and feet up and watch the Giro on television for the likes of Tom Bonham. He said that he was so excited to come here. Remember, he fairly had a really nasty incident at Paris-Nice. Broke bones, couldn't make it for the classics. But he's really motivated. He's got the World Championships later this year with a few cobblestones up in Richmond in North America and the United States of America. Tom Bonham is here and living out a dream, really, racing a race that he watched since he was a kid on television.
Yeah, I think it keeps him motivated, certainly. First time in the Giro d'Italia for Bonham. He doesn't know what to expect. He has ridden, Grand Tours before. Bad accident, as you said, but in his first race back in the Tour of Turkey, he did look exceptionally strong, and he was a big aid to Mark Cavendish. So I think Bonham will choose his stage, and he could possibly win a stage here in the Giro.
Team Sky, start the clock. Inside the final 700 metres, look at that turn from Kirienka at the front, one of the men who we see year upon year in the World Time Trial Championships for Belarus, really putting in big turns. Here he is for Team Sky, one final turn back onto that Lungomare Italo Calvino. The seafront here, just in front of the casino where we had the team presentation yesterday evening, and Team Sky are going to be close to setting a very, very competitive time. 19 minutes and 39 seconds set by Astana and Fabio Aru, the top time so far, and Kirienka on the right-hand side, really giving it his all to drag Sky into the finish. It isn't going to be the fastest time, but it is, I think, going to be a fairly decent start for Richie Porte.
Very good start for Team Sky, as we finish with 8 riders, and they're going to dip under 20 minutes as well, with a time of 19:53.
ever so slightly slower than Trek Factory Racing, 14 seconds off the time of Fabio Aru. And if you talk about gaps and general classification, you can say that Fabio Aru already has 14 seconds on Richie Porte.
You can say that's what they have to judge themselves on, where they finish in the team time trial compared to the overall contenders. Just a little shake of the head from Richie Porte there. They only lost one rider. I think they have to be fairly satisfied with that that time today. But these are the riders that are. This is the team that is fastest on the course. The World Tour Belgian squad, ʻdʒiːro Quickstep.
Movistar walked away with the overall win thanks to Nairo Quintana last season. He was the first Colombian ever to win the race. This year they're here to ride a slightly different race without dedication to one single course. This time it's less about the details every day and more centred on looking for opportunities to win stages. Yam Cycling out there on the course, ʻdʒiːro Quickstep lose David de la Cruz from their lineup. ʻdʒiːro Quickstep riding to what looks like it will be probably the fastest time so far. We will wait to see if that comes true. 69 at the back, Petr Vakoč of Czech Republic. 66 there is Gianni Meersman, the sprinter as well, desperate to try and hold on the wheel. Remember, they have to keep 5 riders together. They've lost Kessler, they've lost also David de la Cruz. Number 63 there is Maxime Bouet, the former Agirozela Mondial rider. And on the left-hand side, we switch our attention to the brand new Southeast team. They've got a brand new kit for the Giro d'Italia. They've been racing in grey all season. They bring Alessandro Petacchi to the Giro. But here, we're about to see ʻdʒiːro Quickstep. Rigoberto Urán at the front. .600 metres to go. Can they set the fastest time? Urán is there. Who would it be that they'd try to set into pink? ʻdʒiːro Quickstep looking to set the fastest time so far. Who are they going to send into pink if they get the stage win though? Will it be Tom Boner on his Giro debut? Rigoberto Urán, the team leader, goes to the back. They've got a mightily strong team as they race towards the line. 19:39 is the time to beat. Astana set it. They may well just be outside it though. I think they will be, in fact. It looked as though when they came around the corner that they were looking really nailed on to set the fastest time. In the end, it's 6 seconds faster and still a smile on the throne there for Astana. They remain the top team on the day. And Tom Boner attempting to get into the pink jersey. Today will fail, but they're going to be close. And with time bonuses this week, you just never know. 6 seconds down.
6 seconds wasn't a lot in the end, but we still have some very good teams to come. For me, the favourites has to be Orica, Green Edge, and Tinkoff Saxo. I've got a very strong team as well. I think that for me they're the 2 favourites of this team time trial today.
Well, Alessandro Petacchi, 41 years of age, back for another Giro d'Italia. He's won 22 stages down the years. Only 2 men have ever won more Grand Tour stages than him. Absolutely incredible. Petacchi wore pink on the first day when he won the 2003 sprint in Lecce in the southeast of the country. But now we're with Movistar. Movistar last year, who came here aiming to win and winning very comfortably with Nairo Quintana in the end. He's aiming for the Tour de France this year.
So he sent his brother along there, Quintana.
There is here, and he also sent his best wishes through Twitter as well, wishing his teammates the best, as we see Yam Cycling of Switzerland come through the intermediate time check. A 9th place so far, just at the intermediate time check, and that's not particularly good. Here is Movistar. Movistar, who have worked so hard in the time trial department. First of all with their new bike manufacturers, Canyon, over the last few years. Also with their clothing manufacturers from Scotland, I might add as well, Endura. They did a heck of a lot of work, and we saw that reflected a little last week in Alex Dowsett's hour record attempt as well.
Yeah, that was tremendous, wasn't it?
I should say, successful attempt, and you saw it live here on the home of cycling.
So pleased for Alex Dowsett, and that's and he might go for it again later on, possibly with Wiggins saying that he's going to do 54 kilometres in an hour. So, but traditionally over the last few years, the team of Movistar has been changing. You know, they have been looking at the top teams in the world, like Team Sky, and trying to learn from them. taking Alex Dowsett to the team, and his experience of working with the Great Britain and wind tunnels has helped him a lot, and they say that, they don't mind saying it. They've taken this team from a traditional Spanish team to where they are now. This is the #1 UCI team in the world last year. They do well in team time trials, but I don't think it will be a possible podium today. They have come here with the bigger picture of pretty much a climbers team. Obviously with Visconti is very possible here hunting for a stage win, but they have come here with a team to help the likes of Incausti. Also, and there's Lobato, the sprinter of the team. So again, a very strong team from Movistar, but is it the team to beat the likes of Astana here today? I don't think it is.
Andrea Amador here as well from Costa Rica, already a Giro winner on a stage to Cervinia a few years ago, and we go there again this year. He's a guy who's hit form again. He's had a bit of a rest after breaking his elbow. He's back and willing. Team on the left, back at the Giro 12 years after their last appearance. It's the Polish team, CCC Sprandi Polkowice. Back in 2003 they had Paweł Tonkov and Dariusz Baranowski. He was 12th overall then. He's now a colleague of ours in the Eurosport Poland commentary box. Out there representing the nation, this time Maciej Paterski in the form of his life. Sylvester Schmidt there as well, and they're joined by the Bulgarian Nikolai Mikhailov, Gregor Borla from Slovenia, and of course Svitsov from Belarus.
Very strong team, in fact the second ever Polish team in a Grand Tour. So the men in orange, with Sprandi, I think it's an Italian sponsor.
It's actually owned by CCC as well. It's another footwear brand. They're both the same company, and they're showing off both of their brands, I've been reliably informed.
Good, and nice to see them in the Giro d'Italia. A little controversy when the teams were announced, the wildcard teams. 5 wildcard teams in this race with 17 World Tour teams, so 4 of them going to the Italian teams, with the Polish team giving the nod from the organisers.
A lot of Sprandi advertising boards up at RCS races this year. Team giant Alpecin not going to set the fastest time. No general classification aim really for them this year.
Kind of surprised at that, Rob, because they do have a very strong team, a lead-out team, and for a team time trial like this, you'd expect them to go very, very well. At the front there, look at Misgits, won the last stage last year in the Giro d'Italia, and has come here thinking of potentially the points jersey and stage win. So I would expect this team to do a little bit better than they have done here today, finishing with a time of 20 minutes and 15 seconds.
36 seconds down. Philippe Gilbert there, right in the middle of your picture for BMC. Of course, third, 12 seconds down. We saw that earlier on. Second at the minute, Etixx Quick-Step, 19:45, 6 seconds down on the top time set by the team from Kazakhstan, the team with their Italian #1. Fabio Aru, Italy's big hope at the Giro this year, racing for Astana Pro Team. They have the best time so far. Astana with the top time thus far. Fabio Aru coming across the line first, hoping to get that pink jersey already. He wants the experience of having the Maglia Rosa on his back. Of course, if a favourite were to take the Maglia Rosa here, I don't think they want it all the way to Milan. It's a lot of responsibility to take, given the fact that even in this first week, Brian, we've got quite a few stages where we're going to see a few people have to be really careful of losing the Giro d'Italia. Nobody can win it yet, but there's a couple of mountain stages, I think it's stage 5, where we already have an uphill finish.
The thing is, you can't hold back in a Grand Tour like this, and especially in the team time trial, because it's bragging rights, and every team wants to win this team time trial. It means a lot to the whole team. It's not often you get you know, a team to stand with your teammates in the podium, because it's such a kind of individual sport. You ride all day for your sprinter, he wins the stage, he gets on the podium, so it's nice to be on the podium with your whole team. So you can't really hold back, but if Aru gets that pink jersey, I don't think he'll be wanting to try and defend it in the first week.
We've got Richie Porte. Here he is.
How was the course?
It was pretty, I mean, it's just terribly fast. But, I think we were good today. Everybody was pretty smooth and solid. I don't know the time gaps yet, but I think, you know, we did a good job.
So it's 14 seconds behind Astana, and the fastest intermediate team so far is from Ethics. So it's looking good for you guys.
Yeah, I mean, it's the race is not going to be won today. You know, I think there's still some very strong teams to come. So, you know, I expect that Orica are probably going to be the team, but you know, I think it's still a quite good way to start the race.
Thanks, Richie. Let you cooling down.
Happy enough, Richie Porte, the Australian. He mentioned the Australian team. Orica Green Edge next on to the start ramp, and can they beat this man and his team from Kazakhstan? It's the Italian Fabio Aru, the youngster from Sardinia. A lot of talk, a lot of noise about this man in Italy. Of course, he had a bit of a controversial build-up. He's only raced 15 days before the Giro d'Italia. The aim was to race around 19 days, but of course there was this talk that he lost a lot of weight. He got dysentery apparently at a team training camp. He spent a lot of time up at Sestriere altitude, but of course there was the incident with Greg Henderson, the rider from Lotto Soudal on Twitter, who was intimating that his biological passport might not be all that it seemed. It was a strange thing to happen on Twitter, given the fact that all the libel laws and everything that surrounds it. But of course it was all cleared up. Greg Henderson apologised afterwards, but it did a bit of damage to Fabio Aru. People saying things that perhaps, well, obviously, he didn't want them to say about him. Yam Cycling coming in towards the finish. Swiss team not going to set the fastest time. Or I might be wrong. They're doing okay. They was very, very struggling at the early part, at the early time check. In fact, the first instinct was right. They're not going to set the fastest time, but they've improved a heck of a lot in the second half here.
They definitely have. They just lost Roger Kluger just in the background there, the sixth rider, but they do have 5 riders, and the clock will stop at 19 minutes 51.
Really good time from Yam Cycling, 53.198. It's a Giro d'Italia debut for them, and they have had a really, really good day. Sylvain Chavanel riding the Giro d'Italia. Orica Green Edge, big candidates to repeat their Belfast victory and pink jersey of 12 months ago. Svein Tuft, out with an injury picked up last week in the Tour de Romandie, isn't here to pull on the pink jersey again. Who will it be? They've got a mightily strong team. No GC contender to worry about. They're here to win stages. They said they want the pink jersey again. Remember, Michael Matthews wore it for 6 days last year. He's here again, as is Simon Gerrans, who returns to the Giro for the first time since he won a stage with the Cervelo test team quite a few years back. Brett Lancaster is a former wearer of the pink jersey as well. And as a future general classification project, they have Esteban Chavez from Colombia, 25 years of age. A really, really promising rider. And one man we mustn't forget as well, Peter Veining, another former wearer of the pink jersey. So they know what it's like in this team to have the jersey. They know how sweet it tastes. We'll be having another sip later on today.
I think they will. They look as if they are the fastest team. With the amount of talent they've got in here, with the likes of Durbridge and, Hepburn, Lancaster, Sam Bewley. Michael Matthews, there's so much talent. There's, former Olympic and world medalists in team pursuits, and, they've got the veteran in there, Brett Lancaster. It's, I think it was the prologue he won to take the jersey, wasn't it? A 1 kilometre prologue when he had that jersey.
Certainly
a very
was.
short prologue to the Giro d'Italia some time ago, but, a very good lead-out man. But as you say, they have got Peter Winning and Chavez for the kind of climbs in the mountains, but Michael Matthews is a huge talent, and if they take the jersey today, which I think they will, then there's nothing to say they can't repeat what they did last year.
Senor Fletcher's been busy. He's with Fabio Aru now. Best time, you could be in the maglia rosa. How is it? Well, we hope so. We're waiting the rest of the times. I'm really happy with what the team's done for me. Of course, I'm really happy to be at the Giro. I'm feeling a lot of love from the fans today, which is really amazing. And of course, we hope to take the win. And of course, you were talking about the group and how it went. You were very strong in the team. Yeah, we've got a really good group for the climbs, I think. We've got a massively strong team. We can make the difference. We've been training a lot together. So I think that's the most important thing. Thank you and good luck, says Juan Antonio Fletcher, with Fabio Aru down there, waiting to see if he will be the winner and the maglia rosa wear at the end of the day. Back to the start ramp in San Lorenzo, that's making its Giro debut, by the way. The town's never before hosted a stage, either as a start or a finish. And it's time for a team that have had a pretty miserable start to their latest incarnation. Team Lotto NL Jumbo, out of the ashes of Blanco, Rabobank and Belkin. They didn't have a win all season until the start of the Tour of Yorkshire. Second stage, in fact, when Moreno Hofland won. Now they come here with just 8 riders. George Bennett yesterday having to pull out. Now Lotto NL Jumbo are a member of the MPCC, which is a pressure group that tries to pressure for stronger levels and stronger controls, medical controls of riders to prevent doping. And George Bennett, the Kiwi rider, returned low cortisol levels in the test taken on Thursday. That indicates that he's not currently at optimal health, and unfortunately for him and the team, he's had to pull out. Movistar into the final 500 metres and looking really good here.
Yeah, good team as expected to ride very well in the team time trials, and they've come here with a traditional climbing team, but these have gelled well together, and I don't think they're going to be #1 slot, but they give their climbers a little inspiration.
Well, Fernandez can time trial, in Charleston can time trial, which in Jonis Aguirre improve a heck of a lot in the discipline. And it looks as though it's going to be the 3rd best time so far. So Movistar quicker than a lot of teams that were expecting to be quicker than them, including that Sky. Movistar across in 3rd, 8 seconds down on the best time by Astana. It's the first 17.6 of 3,489 kilometres over the next 3 weeks. Orica Green Edge well on their way on the bike path that goes alongside the sea. Hills and cliffs dropping into the Mediterranean. Ligurian Sea, as it's known in the area, just north of Tyrrhenian Sea, which is of course of Tirreno Adriatico fame. Sea just to the left of Tuscany. Beautiful and green. It's been lovely weather the last couple of days down here. Everything decked out in pink, as you expect when the Giro comes to town. Race beginning just in front of the Cipressa.
You can just hear at the end of the Orica Green Edge train, Chavez, the Colombian, just hanging on for dear life. He'll just hang on as much as he can. And these teams setting off at 5-minute intervals, so there's no if riders are being dropped, as we've already seen, many of the teams finishing with 6-7 riders. With on these kind of bike paths, very difficult for the vehicles to pass. So Chavez hanging on to potentially the fastest team on the road.
Lotto Soudal are about to start. Adam Hansen starts a Grand Tour again. I think it's fast becoming a UCI rule. You can't start a 3-week race without him. He's finished each of the last 10 Grand Tours, the Australian, and during that time he also won a Giro d'Italia stage as well, so hat off to Adam Hansen. But for Lotto Soudal, it's all really about Andre Greipel, the German road champion, and trying to get him some more wins, isn't it?
He does look in good form, a stage win in the recent Tour of Turkey. I witnessed that firsthand, and he does look super strong. But let's not forget Jürgen van den Broek. He's looking a bit better this year. up contract at the end of the year, and again he's been in the press over the last kind of couple of years that he's not overly happy with that team and possibly looking at something else. So Jurgen van den Broek is their general classification rider, but they are definitely here with stage wins in mind with Greipel.
Alessandro Petacchi leading southeast into the final few hundred metres of an area and a bit of road that he absolutely loved as a rider. Milan-San Remo finish. He's not going to be pulling on the pink jersey as he was in Lecce in 2003 at the start of the Giro d'Italia. But Southeast are about to finish, and I think it's going to be one of the worst times that we've seen so far today. They're going to get a good reception as an Italian team. Checkered history over the last few years, Southeast. It's come from the team that was abandoned by Luca Scinto, that had all the doping problems with the likes of Sant'Ambrogio and Di Luca. It's a new team name though, new team management. 11th place for Southeast, 39 seconds down off Astana. Time to go here from Rigoberto Urán.
Segundo mejor tiempo, 2 segundos detrás de Astana.
Second best time for Urán. How was it? Yeah, it was absolutely beautiful. A lovely course. We had a strong team, but of course it was going to be difficult, I think, for us to win today. But I think we've done a really, really good stage, a good start. That was important for me and for the team. Yeah, and you've got a few seconds on Richie on the first day. Yeah, it's not that important early on. So Rigoberto Urán, nice and calm as he usually is. Former teammate of Richie Porte, of course. Two got on really, really well together. Richie Porte this week saying he's a really solid bloke, a really, really good bloke, Rigoberto Urán, and even taking the mickey out of him in a few of the interviews that went away from Richie Porte's camp, saying, well, I'm up against Mick Jagger this year, the rock star on and off the bike, the long hair. Urán, of course, carries himself really well. Look at this view. Liguria from the air. Very, very popular with Italians in Turin and Milan to come down here and have a few days at the seaside during the summer. Big caravanning area as well. They come from France, from across the border, up from the mountains too, from Switzerland. This is Lotto NL Jumbo. Until last week, the only World Tour team without a win. Moreno Hofland ended that in Yorkshire, of course. It's May in Italy though, and Orica Green Edge are fighting for pink. They had it in Belfast last year.
Well, they're still looking good, Rob. They went through the fastest at 9.9 kilometres there, 10:45. 8 seconds, in fact, quicker than Ethics were. So, again, they still have 9 riders. Chavez still hanging on to the back, and Aru, the 24-year-old Italian rider, sitting on that seat there as the fastest finishers, and he was the first across the line. But he'll be looking at the television now to see the time checks and all 9 riders here for Orica Green Edge, and it does look as if they're going to repeat the feat that they did in Belfast last year.
We wait to see. They're looking good, they're looking strong. Of course, Svein Tuft missing is a bit of a miss for them, but as you've gone down the list and talked about the strong riders, the likes of Turbo Durbo, Luke Durbridge, of course, in this squad, Brett Lancaster we've talked about, a lot of other strong riders here in the discipline. They've got so much strength in depth.
But it's how you ride together. Like, you can't have, 1 or 2 super riders. You can just see them riding in one long line. They know what they have to do. They know from the times that are being set, they know they have to average around, I would say, 54 kilometres an hour. So they will set the tempo. If you raise it to 55, then you will hurt the riders behind you. So the strongest riders don't go faster, they just do it longer at the front. So you can see the Lotto Soudal team, the team from Belgium. They'll ride at about 53 kilometres an hour, and just see one of the riders has peeled off the front as one of the other riders just gets on the back. So if you do feel good, you don't lift the tempo, you just do longer turns on the front.
This This team time trial 17.6 kilometres long.
2 riders now go from Orica Green Edge, so this is the plan. They get into the last couple of kilometres here, and they'll shed riders, so it does look as if Chavez is hung on for dear life until now. He's been dropped, and they are down to 7 riders.
CCC Sprandi Polkovica. They won the team time trial at the Settimana Coppi e Bartoli last month. They are not going to win it today. They're riding for Sylvester Schmidt, the old-timer. Knows Italy like the back of his hand after riding so often for Ivan Basso. Not going to be a great day, though, for the start of their challenge today. Look at this slipping down the times. We certainly didn't expect them to be slower than the likes of Bardiani. Ashidazela Mondial up there as well, and it's going to be a time that's going to be very, very similar to that. Ever so slightly quicker. They look around and make sure they get 5 riders over. 20 minutes, 11 seconds, 32 seconds down on the best time so far set by Astana. And Sylvester Schmidt, Maciej Paterski, and the rest of CCC Sprandi, perhaps ever so slightly disappointed with that. Lotto NL Jumbo. Now we saw Orica Green Edge go past the 2 kilometre to go mark not so long ago, as we see this very, very technical part of the course.
This
for a
is
team
the
time
worst.
trial.
Yeah, this is the worst technical part of the team time trial. The left-hander, then a right-hander, then underneath this bridge out the other side. It rises slightly uphill after this turn. So Lotto NL Jumbo, the team that's more from Rabobank from the Netherlands, started with 8 riders. Everybody else started with 9 riders, but unfortunately for Bennett, he was not, on health reasons, he was not allowed to start. So Orica Green Edge still setting the fastest time. They were 8 seconds up in Ethics Quick Step at the 9.9 kilometres. They've just shed a couple of riders just within the last kilometres. So they said right from the start, Matt White, the sports director, said, we are here to win, and we are here to win the team time trial. We're not thinking about the overall in 3 weeks' time. We are here to do what we did last year in the Giro.
11th best time at 9.9 kilometres in for Team Lotto. But it's a big moment. Time to go, says Alberto Contador. Winner of the Giro in 2008 without winning a stage. On that occasion, he was dragged off the beach after all the problems that were happening at the time. Not too much training, but he hung on to the pink jersey. He was here and won it on the road in 2011, but that result was later expunged following the Clenbuterol case. He's hoping to re-add a second Giro to his records.
Sulla corsa rosa, un Alberto Contador che si è presentato alla via come favorito numero 1. Alberto Contador quanto mai motivato a conquistare ancora quella maglia rosa, la maglia rosa che appunto nel corso della propria carriera l'atleta spagnolo dipinto.
Astana Proteams setting the best time so far. They've had Sky already across the line. Ethics Quick Step across the line. 3 of the 4 pre-Giro big favourites have been out there and have set their times. Alberto Contador and Tinkoff Saxo about to take to the start ramp. We're watching Lotto Soudal at the minute and Jürgen van den Broek. This is Orica Green Edge. Not so long ago, going past Alfred Nobel's old house, the Swedish scientist of dynamite and, of course, later posthumously Nobel Prize fame. And if you look close enough, if we ever get a chance to see it, you'd see his old back gate. Of course, born in Sweden, lived the latter part of his life in San Remo, where he died. Orica Greenedge then into the final 600 metres. It's looking very, very strong from the Australian team as we expected. What sort of time can they set? Can it be quicker than Astana Pro Team? At the minute, it looks very, very good as they're about to take the final turn in towards the final part of the course. They have their men left. They have enough men to get over the line. They've got to keep them together. Who is going to be the man they're going to put into the pink jersey if indeed they too succeed? They're working hard. They're desperately trying to get over the line. They look around, they see that they have 6 men left at the minute. It looks like it's going to be a super time from Orica Greenedge. I'm not sure anybody's going to be able to beat this. It's Orica Greenedge to go across the line again. 5th man takes the time. 19 minutes, 26 seconds. 13 faster than Fabio Aru and Astana. They will not be taking the pink jersey. Perhaps Simon Gerrans, perhaps Orica Greenedge will be. Top team, top time, and Orica Greenedge across the line. And if I'm not mistaken, Brian, that was Simon Gerrans on the right-hand side.
Yeah, it certainly was. Gerrans takes the team across the finishing line there with Michael Matthews looking good in second place there. So that is the fastest time. I think this is a team that can really challenge them. Contador has come here to try and do the double, win the Giro d'Italia, then go on and win the Tour de France. This is a very strong team, a time trial team. When you think of Boaro is there, very good time trials, Jo Jensen, Kreuziger, Paulino, Michael Rogers, Ivan Rovne, Matteo Tosato. This is a very strong team that Contador has brought with them. Dmitry Konashev not happy with this situation.
TV motorbike a little close. We said that it was really narrow, certainly on those sections where you've got the cliffs and the rocks on the right-hand side and the drop into the sea on the left-hand side. You can understand that he's not particularly happy about people interrupting things with his riders. Here they go. This is Katusha, Russian team who, well, 19 victories in 2015. The majority of them achieved in the latter part of the spring. They're the team of the moment, aren't they?
They certainly are. This is Lotto Soudal coming up to the checkpoint at 9.9 kilometres. Shedding a rider there, 12 seconds down. Just look at that average, Rob, over 54 kilometres an hour. This is going to be a very, very fast team time trial today. I'm not going to be sure it's going to be in the record books of the fastest team time trial ever in the Giro d'Italia, but you can just see the Russian outfits of Katusha starting to struggle towards the back with the 2 riders. I think one of the riders is in fact Luca Paolini, the winner of Ghent-Wevelgem, just using his power to try and hang in there. That's the rider just 171 at the back of the main train, as we see the other
Maxim
rider,
Belkov,
a rider that's won a stage of the Giro d'Italia, I think it was last year, with a break, starting to struggle.
In Florence a couple of years ago, in fact, when Maxim Belkov won.
In the rain, yes.
He's on brilliant form at the minute. He was excellent in the Tour de Romandie. He took both the mountains and the intermediate sprint classification.
But Rob, sometimes, like Richie Porte just said there for Team Sky, it's a nice way to start the Giro d'Italia. I don't think a team time trial is always best good for viewers sitting at home and watching it, but this is one of the hardest disciplines in our sport. To start the Giro d'Italia like this is just pain, pure pain. There's a lot of stress, and they come here with different equipment, and the stress is actually on the whole team and the staff, you know, to get the team time trial bikes. In a time trial, they go off one at a time, and it's a bit more relaxed. In a team time trial, the atmosphere is building, everybody expects you're there as a team, and it's stressful times. So I would think, looking back at this day, when these riders finish, they'll be relieved more than excited, because it's a very difficult way to start the Grand Tour.
9th time that we've started the Giro d'Italia with a team time trial, 23rd overall. I mentioned earlier, for the benefit of those of you who might not have been with us, or you're off making a cup of coffee or a cup of tea or whatever, 1937 was the first ever one, and then it was really popular in the 1950s. We had one almost every year until 1956, and then it didn't reappear until the 80s, when it was à la mode again. For 81 we saw it reappear, and that was until 89, and then after that it disappeared again. 17-year gap until it came back with that CSC win in 2006. And of course, that remains the fastest ever one. CSC as it was then. Tinkoff Saxo it is now. Of course, looking down the years, lots of reminiscing to do. This is always a time of year where we commemorate the very sad death, tragic death a few years ago. Walter Whelan, who very sadly passed away whilst racing not too far away from this part of the world. And that was 4 years ago now. Walter Whelan, number 108, retired in his memory. Team Lotto NL Jumbo, 600 metres to go. They are not going to set the fastest time. We saw the bar raised considerably a moment ago by Orica Green Edge. Astana had set the fastest time before that. But Team Lotto NL Jumbo certainly don't look like being the worst performers at the lot today. They've come here for their overall leader, Steven Kruijswijk. A couple of riders dropping off the back. They have the experience of the likes of Chalingi here with them as well. Hofland for the sprints too. But Jan Lindemann, who was in a break in the Tour de Romandie last week. Robert Wagner, the former German road champion. They're going to cross the line here. Just a second faster than Bardiani, 9th. Canadel Garmin have won this event on 2 occasions since their formation, 2008 and 2012. Seems they've lost their mojo a little in the discipline in the recent years. After this break, we'll see how they do for Ryder Hagestad.
In association with the Israel Ministry of Tourism.
You're watching the very first stage of the 2015 Giro d'Italia, the Tour of Italy, and this is Team Katusha. They won the team classification at the Tour de Romandie last week in Switzerland, French-speaking area of Switzerland. Nothing short of a dominant performance by Katusha at the Swiss race. Russian Ilnur Zakharin took the overall win and the yellow jersey, and he was joined on the podium by his teammate Simon Spilak in second place. Of course, an almost eternal second place man at the Tour de Romandie. A very warm welcome back to our viewers on British Eurosport as well. Left hand side you've got Tinkoff Saxo in the fluorescent yellow. On the right, just about to go into the tunnel and disappear from our view, Katusha, the Russian team. This looks like a better view for the minute though. Stunning around here. Lotto Soudal.
Just noticed there that Jurgen van den Broek is leading his team into the finishing straight, and Andy Greipel actually grimacing, hanging on to him. We did say from the start that Jurgen van den Broek, it does look exceptionally well, and he's shown that today in the team time trial. Andy Greipel trying to get to his wheel, put it in it as one of the biggest gears in his bike to hang on to him. Jurgen van den Broek is definitely a man to be watching this year's Giro d'Italia.
Jurgen van den Broek, who started to show that form in the last 2 stages of the Tour de Romandie last week. He set a really good time trial on the final day on a difficult course in bad weather. And Lotto Soudal about to come across the line. 19:55.97 is their time. Time to go back to the finish, and Juan Antonio.
So here we are with Bert Lancaster, first time on it, pretty fast. So how you guys rode today?
Yeah, I mean, we're a really well drilled school. Of course, you've got Katusha to come, you know, they're a very good contender, but, you know, we targeted this race and we wanted to take it after last year, so yeah, everyone rode well and everyone committed.
I saw, before you guys even started, that your personnel, your seniors, they were bringing turbo trainers and bikes. So you pretty much, as you say, you have this plan and you were focused pretty much on this stage.
You know, yeah, we put a lot of emphasis on the team's time trial, and yeah, we brought 4 specialists here, the guys who take to the world. So yeah, we're pretty motivated and well-drilled team.
You're back in the Giro. How does it feel being in this race?
I think it's my 10th Giro this year, so first one was in 2003. You know, I love this race. It's probably my favourite. You know, the Tour is the Tour, but it's just the Italians are so passionate, and yeah, it's an epic race. Definitely the hardest race in the world, I think, and it's great to be back.
Thanks, Red. Enjoy it.
Riders feeling the passion with the crowd, very, very close to them at the start and the finish. We've seen Tinkoff Saxo riding around halfway through the course. This is Cannondale-Garmin. Versatile team, mix of youth and experience here. I think probably looking for opportunities throughout the race. They've got a former Giro winner, one of 4 former winners to the start line, and rider Heijsdal hasn't really done too much since he won the Giro. Is he a man who you can see up towards the top of the general classification ever again?
I don't think so. I'm sorry for the Canadian viewers, but you know, he won the Giro d'Italia a few years ago. Terrific effort, but since then he's a fighter. I think, you know, that was his Grand Tour. That everything went well, but since then it hasn't. And I think he'll be lucky to maybe fight into the top 6. I would think a top 10 performance by rider Heijsdal. He's not getting any younger, but certainly there is some other good riders in this Cannondale-Garmin team that are going to look at doing well in this year's Giro.
Young Davide Formolo, who was tipped by Ivan Basso nonetheless, as being the next big thing in Italian general classification racing, and perhaps even the world of general classification stage racing. He's been tipped for a lot of things. It's his first Giro d'Italia, still a really, really young lad in his early 20s. He roomed with Basso last year, and they were on the last season of the then Cannondale and ex-Liquigas team before it was merged into the Garmin team over the winter. Basso's now gone off, of course, to ride for Alberto Contador, part of a deluxe team for him at this race. They're all also on the course at the minute, but Formolo, a lot of pressure, of course, in Italy, but being his first year, he said he's not riding for general classification, and that's probably the right approach for the team, isn't it? No pressure, no extra pressure on him anyway.
He first came to light in the Tour of Turkey last year, won by Adam Yates, and you know, he was right up there, showing well, and he's carried it into this year already, looking very well. But you know, we have talked about Tinkoff Saxo in the team time trial. It looks as if they're kind of breaking up at this moment. This is Contador at the back, just about to be distance for a few bike lengths.
And Ivan Basso just behind him.
That's because they have set the fastest time at 9.9 kilometres, 2 seconds faster than Orica Green Edge, but it's put their team leader Contador and Basso behind them in a little bit of trouble. So it's about measuring your effort, and although they set the fastest time at the intermediates, it does look as if they may have lost a few seconds because they have had to wait for Contador and Basso there.
We will see how they go. Basso at the back, Manuele Boaro, one of the big motors in this team. Mick Rogers, a 3-time former world time trial champion as well. Ivan Rovniu's versatile. Matteo Tosato, who's the second oldest rider in the Giro, but such a great engine on him. In the meantime, it's time to go back to the finish. This is Team Katusha. Not going to set the fastest time, but nevertheless, I think it's going to be fairly respectable for Ilnur Zakharin's lot. In fact, it's Ilnur Zakharin, 7 other Russian riders, and Luca Paolini this year. Paolini, the only Italian that's been selected. There's no Gianpaolo Caruso this season.
Well, Paolini was hanging on a little bit earlier in this team time trial performance by Katusha. He's still in there, but Zakharin is the man that they're thinking of, and just limiting the losses to their GC man.
Team Katusha to come across the line, and at the minute it's going to be, well, the computer was struggling to decide then. 8th place in the end, 27 seconds down on Peter Veining's Orica Green Edge, who you just saw on your screen there. Good time from Team Katusha. Paolini across the line. 3rd Giro d'Italia for him now. Only 3 years ago he made his debut. Had to wait till his mid-30s to make his debut in his home Grand Tour. Not a bad debut, was it, though? It was a stage win and a pink jersey for him in 2013. Who's going to take it today, then? "21 days from San Lorenzo al Mare to Milan. Liguria to Lombardy, 3,489 kilometres. And Cannondale-Garmin into the most technical part of this otherwise fairly untechnical team time trial course. It's been fast so far. Best time set by Orica Greenedge. Cannondale Garmin in their brand new jerseys of green and black. And they're heading towards the intermediate time check. Interesting to see if we can get the time. Looks as though they're quite a way down, 29 seconds down on the fastest time set by Tinkoff Saxo. And here they are. 2:05 there on your screen is Roman Kreuziger. A surprise in the Giro team. Not initially down to ride this. Mick Rogers in front of him.
They're down to 7 riders, and is it a controlled effort? We've seen how smooth that the team of Orica Greenedge were. They hold the fastest time, but just look, 2:03 is done his turn, came back. Contador, for me, doesn't look as if he's on song today. He has already been struggling just after the first time check. He only done a short turn at the front, and Contador looked, for me, maybe a little bit tense on the start line. Doesn't seem to be enjoying himself today. In his best interest, it's important for him just to keep, not hang around the back that we've seen some of the other GC contenders, to keep on continuing in this line. They still have 7 riders left, and we're inside the last 2 kilometres for Tinkoff Saxo. For me, the only team that can knock Orica Greenedge off the top spot.
I mentioned Alfred Noble's back gate before. We've just gone past it as Ivan Basso pulls off. So there'll be no pink jersey again for Ivan Basso this time. 1.5 kilometres to go for Tinkoff Saxo. You said that Alberto Contador was nervous today. He was sounding out a warning to his team in the press over the last couple of days, saying, watch out, be careful, we have to do a proper job today. We saw last week in the Tour de Romandie that any differences on an opening stage team time trial can be crucial. And if you think back to that race last week, Sky took a lot of seconds out of everybody. Katusha, the eventual winners, only 5 seconds behind again, taking almost a minute out of some of the other general classification contenders, and they just didn't recover all the whole week. Yes, of course, it's a Giro, it's 3 weeks long, but you really don't want to be giving yourself any sort of obstacles if you can help it early on.
The thing is, inside the last kilometre now, I don't think it's going to be fast enough for Tinkoff Saxo. It's how much time they are going to lose to Orica Greenedge. They'll not be worried about that. They'll be more inclined to wonder how much time. See a can or glasses just being thrown across the road there. They'll just want to limit the losses, if there are any losses, with the other GC contenders. Mick Rogers leading them around. Only 6 riders left. So it's going to be a very good time. But Contador doesn't look as if he's on song today.
Tinkoff Saxo coming around the corner. It's going to be a top time. Is it the best time? I'm not so sure. We wait to see. 450 metres to go for Tinkoff Saxo. Mick Rogers giving it his all. Contador still in that formation, so no problems as far as him coming off the back is concerned just yet. They've kept bodies together. They have 6 men in there at the minute, Tinkoff Saxo. Ivan Basso isn't one of them. They're fighting hard to try and take the best time. They're not going to take the Maglia Rosa on the day, though, although it is going to be a top, really strong time for Tinkoff Saxo. Out of the GC contenders so far, the best time. It's a 2nd place for them, and I think Orica Greenedge now know that they are the team that have won. Tinkoff Saxo so close, 7 seconds off Orica Greenedge, and with Cannondale Garmin behind, Française Desjeux the last team on the line. None of them at the minute threatening on the partial times halfway through the course, and I think that muted celebration can begin, and I think even the riders not confident in their peers on the road at the minute. Complete celebration for them. I think
Tinkoff Saxo will be more than happy with this. You look at the faces as they crossed the line. That was a very difficult start to the Giro d'Italia for all of them, especially Alberto Contador. I don't think he'll gain too much confidence from that, but it is a 3-week race and he will get stronger. He knows how to win Grand Tours. He's done it before, so he will get stronger. But it does look as if Orica Greenedge will be taking the honours like they did last year. But Tinkoff Saxo have to be happy because they have delivered their leader in front of most of the other GC contenders.
Française Desjeux enjoyed this race in 2014. They won 3 stages. They helped their then sprinter Nasser Bouhanni take home the red points jersey. He has since left for pastures new. He's gone to professional continental level and a team dedicated to him at Cofidis. They weren't invited to this race. We'll see him at the Tour de France, and here, Française des Jeux trying their best to set the top time. They are well off it. 6th at the minute, 14 seconds down.
It's not too bad a time. They are still together, all 9 riders. Only a matter of 12 seconds off the fastest team. So just look as if Française des Jeux are happy.
Does that mean this is an early celebration then? A bit too early?
No, we said it right from the talk. It was between Orica Greenedge and Tinkoff. Tinkoff were fastest at the check mark at 9.9 kilometres over this whole distance of 17.6 kilometres. They maintained their structure all the way to the finish, and I'm going to take the pink jersey with Simon Gerrans. I don't think there's 2 teams to finish. Cannondale Garmin, the team here, and also Française des Jeux, they aren't setting the fastest times on the course, so it does look as if Simon Gerrans will be the first pink jersey. So yeah, that's why they're celebrating. They came here with a plan to win the team time trial yet again in the Giro d'Italia, and that's the man that's going to be wearing the pink jersey, Simon Gerrans.
Simon Gerrans, former winner of a stage on the Giro d'Italia back in 2009. Hasn't ridden the race since then. Back today. It's not a bad return, is it? Straight into pink.
Great return, and Michael Matthews was just in second place there, but I think the plan was for Gerrans to take that. Great confidence booster. Gerrans,
he's had a horrible season as well so far.
He has. That's what it's just a confidence booster for Gerrans, a man that's won stages in every Grand Tour, from the Tour of Italy, Tour of Spain, and Tour de France. And difficult time with illness and injury. He is back, and great to see Simon Gerrans at the top of the tree again.
We just saw Nate Brown of the United States of America off the back there for Cannondale. 154 is André Cardoso, who's one of the 3 Portuguese riders in this Giro d'Italia. Tom Danielson in front of him, who's been going well without too much reward recently. Inside 1.6 kilometres to the line for Team Cannondale Garmin, who will be our penultimate team across the line today. And for them now, Brian, you get the feeling it's about doing the best job possible for their leader, Ryder Hagedal.
That's what they have to try and do. Keep him in a good position. He doesn't lose too much time, and like we said all along, this is going to be a matter of seconds. The Giro d'Italia could be a matter of minutes in 3 weeks' time when we come into Milan. So it's just confidence building. It's a big show. I love team time trials, but it's for the team. It's hard. It's a big motivation, but it's the only time that you have a team time trial in a race like this that you get to share it with the rest of your team. Because the lead-out trains for the likes of the sprinters, it's the sprinter that goes up and takes the stage one, and the team gets the plaudits afterwards in the press. So this is so special an event that you get to share the podium with the rest of your teammates, and that's why it's so special to a lot of teams like Orica Greenedge, and that's why they've targeted it.
Cannondale Garmin then, as the time stopped to tick past them. They're already past the winning time of Orica Greenedge. Slower as well now than Tinkoff Saxo, who, by the way, did have Mr. Tinkoff himself in the car today. He'll be saying that that's his influence with a good performance. I'm sure, as he is the flamboyant character we expect Oleg Tinkoff. We'll be hearing from him over the next few days. Cannondale Garmin, though, not a day really to remember for them. They used to be the kings of this discipline. Very, very first year they were together, they made it their job to do this. But it sort of sums up a little the atmosphere in the team this year. Not quite as it was. It's a time of transition for Cannondale Garmin, and they're going to be amongst the worst teams on the road today. 18th out of 21 teams so far to cross the line, 53 seconds down, with only Française des Jeux to go, and they look to be going quite a bit quicker behind. Only one more team to cross the line on stage one of the 98th Giro d'Italia. Tour of Italy starting in Liguria in the northwest region of Italy. beautiful sunny day for it. Much better than Milan-San Remo weather in San Remo. Of course, San Remo also famous, massively famous in Italy for its song festival, Festival di San Remo, Italian song contest established in 1951. It's really gone on to cement this town in the national identity of Italy. San Remo normally dedicated to solo artists. Today, though, it's been about the full groups, instrumentalists needing to play their part to ensure that the lead singer got his notes right properly. And I think with Simon Gerrans, he has been the lead singer today, and he's going to be at the front of the stage, dressed in a different outfit. He'll be in pink.
Pretty in pink for Simon Gerrans at the end of today's team time trial, the first stage of this year's Giro d'Italia. The last team are close to the finish within the last 3 kilometres now, and that's RCS Sport, the French team, and they have got 6 riders left in their train. They came here last year, as you said, Rob, with Nasser Bahani, won a few stages, but he's gone off to pastures new, so they've come here with some other ambitions, and certainly not the team time trial. But it's been a fascinating start to see how today is planned out. And looking back on this stage, I think Tinkoff will be happy, because Contador of the GC contenders will be ahead of the likes of Aru and Richie Port and the other GC contenders.
Kenny Elisond at the back there, the minute figure, as he's overtaken in our shot by a man who, from this angle, looks more than double his size. Anthony Roux at the back wearing 78. 75 there is Francis Moret. They've got Murillo Fischer in their team. Alexandre Genier as well, who had a decent general classification finish here last year. Kevin Reza, the brand new signing. He's expected to be the man that is left to his own devices in the finishes. Difficult for him to beat the top sprinters, but you never know. Fastish finisher, and you have the likes of Fischer to look after him. Last team to finish then today, and we've already been thoroughly entertained on what has been a beautiful sunny afternoon in San Remo. Just outside a kilometre to go for Française des Jeux. We're going to see Orica Greenedge on the podium, just as it was in Belfast last year in the rain. And we're going to see Simon Gerrans arriving at this race after multiple setbacks during the first half of 2015. Broke his collarbone, broke his elbow. Now said he's ready. He was targeting time in the pink jersey. And of course, you can all be forgiven at home for having a bit of deja vu, because it was famed tough last year. And Orica Greenedge throughout most of the first week. We saw Michael Matthews spend 6 days in it as well.
Well, it's been a very stressful day for a lot of these teams, and unlike last year, it looks as if all the teams have got through this team time trial unscathed, because we had a nasty accident last year with Dan Martin in the first stage, and it looks as if all the teams do not have any problems, and this could have been pretty technical team time trial today.
Well, we were worried about crashes today early on because of the narrow roads, because of the fact that we had team cars not able to get there on all parts of the route. Very, very difficult. But it looks as though, touch wood, coming to the final 400 metres, that everybody has survived unscathed. Française des Jeux then. The French team in the blue and white, getting their riders across the line. They aren't going to pick up the best time, but it's going to be very, very respectable considering their recent history in this event. It's a really good 8th place for Française des Jeux, just 26 seconds down on the eventual winning time of Orica Greenedge of Australia, who for the 2nd year running win this opening Giro d'Italia stage. Done and dusted. Day one ends like this. Team time trial standings after stage 1 on the 2015 Giro d'Italia see Orica Greenedge finish 7 seconds faster than Alberto Contador's Tinkoff Saxo. Fabio Aru and Astana in 3rd at 13 seconds. Etix with Rigoberto Urán in 4th, 19 seconds back. Movistar in 5th. You have to look down to 9th though for Richie Port's Team Sky, 27 seconds behind the winners on the day. That's the man who is about to go into the pink jersey. Simon Gerrans, a top rider. and how fitting it should be that for a classics man in San Remo, he will go into pink. Simon Gerrans, the leader of the Giro d'Italia for the first time. Michael Matthews in second place, with Hepburn there as well on the same time. Veining, Clark, Chavez made it over as well, with ḓiːro, Kreuziger, Rogers and Contador 7 seconds back and making up the very, very early top 10 as we look out to the Mediterranean Sea here in San Remo. What a day it's been. Movistar up there for a time. The winners, though, Orica Green Edge at the Giro d'Italia. Ethics Quick Step there, fourth for them today, 19 seconds down. Astana, very, very good start for Fabio Aru. Of course, we're going to hear from Juan Antonio in just a few minutes to see what he thought of the stage. But while we've got you here, Brian, a great start for Alberto Contador, despite the fact that he was hanging on at the end. Of course, you said that he wasn't looking great, but the numbers show that he's the strongest out of the big favourites after day one.
Well, congratulations first and foremost to Orica Green Edge and this man here, Simon Gerrans. Just lives up the road with his family in Monaco. He's second home, so he's a local lad. But when you look at Alberto Contador's team, he has put 6 seconds into Aru of Astana, 12 seconds into Iran from Ethics Quickstep, and 20 seconds into Richie Porte. So looking back, I think Tinkoff, Saxo have to be happy with this, but there's only one team that was deserved winners today. They put everything into it, and that was Orica Green Edge. Well done to the whole team, and certainly to Simon Gerrans.
Not the day for Cannondale Garmin that they would have wanted. Ryder Hagedal, winner of the 2012 Giro d'Italia. And of course we await the presentation here in San Remo, where the classic used to finish, pardon me, until a few years ago. Michael Matthews ready. Another winning day for him. Orica Green Edge, the winners of stage one today. Simon Gerrans there just looking around. He'll get the day in pink tomorrow. And with the route we've got in the next few days, it could be a few days indeed.
I think similar to last year, they'll be looking at Michael Matthews from now on. So, you know, good confidence booster for Simon Gerrans. You see the champagnes just lined up there for the Australian team as they look after their baseball caps and make sure their sponsors are kept happy.
Back goes the big screen. Time for the riders to fit through it one by one. I think they thought they were all going to step on in unison to the podium there. They did everything else in unison today. And what a win for Orica Green Edge. 9 riders working extremely hard together for the second year running. Michael Matthews, Sam Bewley, Esteban Chavez, Simon Clark, Luke Turbridge, Simon Gerrans will be wearing the leader's jersey, Michael Hepburn, Brett Lancaster and Peter Veining. Matt White in the car, Orica Green Edge of Australia, winning stage one of this 2015 Giro d'Italia. So they keep their Giro TTT title. And they'll be collecting the prizes, the champagnes at the ready, I should say Prosecco in this part of the world, sorry. Just before anybody gives me a telling off. And of course we go to Prosecco Company for the time trial later on in this Giro. Valdobbiadene, stage 14, once we've been and touched the south and are back up the east coast. First celebration of 21 to come though, and it belongs to Orica Green Edge, Australian team who have got exactly what they came for, a stage win and a pink jersey.
in association with the Israel Ministry of Tourism.
Welcome to Giro Extra. Orica Green Edge, winners of stage 1 of the Giro d'Italia in 2015. The time they had to beat, early time set by Astana Pro Team, with Fabio Aru looking to win the Giro d'Italia, having a really good start. Orica Green Edge not thinking of the overall win. They wanted the stage today, just as they had it 12 months ago. They wanted the pink jersey, and they beat that time very, very well. 13 seconds at the time faster than Astana. 54.3 kilometers per hour the average, and over the course of 17.6, very, very fast, and bathed in sunshine kilometers from San Lorenzo al Mare to San Remo. It was a really, really good ride. Orica Green Edge, who've had their best ever spring statistically. 2014 Giro, they won the opening team time trial, with Svein Tufts putting on the first pink jersey of the race on his birthday. Michael Matthews then taking the overall race lead after that, and was in the jersey when he won stage 6. Peter Weining also went on to win a stage 9. And after that, they finished with just 2 riders on the final podium. What a story last year's Giro d'Italia was for Orica Green Edge. I know a lot of fans down under in Australia have stayed up very, very late to watch them clinch the win. We thank you for staying with us, and we hope that you're going to stay with us for the next few minutes, because Ashley House is going to return with Juan Antonio Fletcher at his side. Time to see what the former Classics man Van der Fletcher himself thought about it. An Argentine-born Catalan rider, now a Eurosport man. Let's go and hear from him.
Hi there, welcome back to the Giro d'Italia at the finish line of stage 1 in San Remo. The team time trial has finished. Juan Antonio Fletcher is with me, of course, as always. Juan Antonio, your overview of the first stage.
It's been amazing and fast, and it's been until the last moment, until we saw Saxo Tinkoff crossing the finish line, that we didn't know exactly what would happen. We were here and we could feel the atmosphere from the guys from Orica Green Edge, how happy they were when they saw they were the winners.
Well, we've just seen them cross the finish line on Eurosport, and of course you've seen the whole of the stage live today. What was it that Orica Green Edge did so right today?
They are specialists on this type of stages. That was their goal, and they had like a Burt Lancaster super specialist, guys like Luke Dobridge for the track. So they really know how to make the turns on the team time track, which is something very important. So as we say, they were not having good climbers, but they were focused on this goal, and they achieved this goal. So now they were going to try to keep the pink jersey for longer until the Abetone.
Yeah, of course. And when we see the pink jersey on the podium right now, that's Simon Gerrans, of course. It's a lovely story. Simon Gerrans, a very, very popular man amongst the peloton. But in terms of preparation for a team time trial, what is it that Orica Green Edge do that others don't?
Mainly, I think it's everything coming from Australia. They have a lot of culture and riding on the track, same like British guys does. So they have a great batch of riders that they really know the technique, they really know how to make those turns, they really know how to ride and position the guys on inside the team to ride as fast as possible, and they show it today again.
They did really show it today. Simon Gerrans, I've mentioned already, he's a popular guy. Tell us a little bit about what it means for him as well.
Well, I think it's very special putting the pink jersey today, because here in San Remo, we are in San Remo, he won Milano San Remo some years ago, and he lives not far away from here. He lives in Monaco, and yeah, for him it's something very special for sure. His family, we just saw his wife and the kids, so he's probably one of his favorite days today.
Well, I know he had a nice chat with you yesterday, Juan Antonio, and right now we're hearing from Simon Gerrans today.
Congratulations, pink in San Remo. That might be a special place for you.
Yeah, San Remo is turning out to be a pretty special place for me in Italy, but Yeah, what an honour to have the pink jersey, and you know, I say time and time again, all my victories are due to some fantastic teamwork. But yeah, this jersey, there's none more so than this jersey.
You guys are getting very experienced and always on top on the team time trials, just keeping that talent.
Yeah, I think we have a few guys that are real specialists in the team. We had several of them here today, and I think it's a real credit to them that they really drove the pace, and everybody fully committed to the plan at the start of the day. And I think thanks to that, you know, we have had such a good time.
Thanks, Simon. Congratulations again.
Cheers, pleasure. Thank
Cheers.
You.
La consegna dei fiori per la maglia rosa, i fiori che sono il simbolo della vittoria. Simon Gerrans, che su questo traguardo aveva trionfato nel 2012.
Well, there's the pink jersey wearer after the first stage. How long do you think, Juan Antonio, that Orica Green Edge can stay in pink?
They will control the race. They will control it until the Abetone. We just had Matty White, sports director, and that's their goal. They even think that they can make it through the Abetone. So I think for the race, it's a great thing that a team like Orica, they're willing and wishing to control the race now. So that's a goal, and that's gonna put pressure out of Astana, because we were with Aru talking before, and for them, winning is always nice, but like giving the jersey to a team like them, it's perfect situation. So we will have a great first week, control race, and also the main contenders saving energy for the final.
That's true. We'll speak about the main contenders in a moment. Juan Antonio mentioned Matthew White. Let's hear from him right now.
Matty White, congratulations, great victory, great way of starting the Giro d'Italia.
It is. Look, we did that last year, and it's really great for the team because the pressure is gone. Our number one objective was to win today, and now we go on the hunt for stages. But the boys did a very, very creditable ride today, and they should be very proud of their efforts.
I guess also was playing like having Simon Gerrans crossing for the first free finish line.
Yeah, he is the captain of our team, and look, he's on the way back. He's had a horrible year with injuries, but he's in very good shape, and it's only fitting that he has the Maglia Rosa today.
That was the goal until today. What's the next goal? Maybe keeping the pink jersey?
Yeah, I would like to keep the pink jersey to Abetone. I think it's going to be hard. These two stages in Liguria, not tomorrow, but the next two, they're very hard stages. They're not going to be easy to control, but we're going to do our best.
Thanks, Matty. See you.
Thanks, man.
Well, Matthew White, obviously a very happy man. In terms of Orica Green Edge tomorrow, they'll have high hopes of winning the stage there too, maybe.
Absolutely. They still have Michael Matthews, who's a great talent rider. He's riding well this season. They got Simon Gerrans, I mean, former winner of Milan-San Remo, Liège-Bastogne-Liège. And they still have Luke Routledge, could be a favorite for the fast time trial in the second week. So, and this situation is perfect because they are having now like a lot of relax, and they achieved the first goal, and things that just will go on. Other teams, they need to show still things, and for them, they already show one, and they will give a consequence of showing more things and winning more stages.
Well, congratulations to Orica Green Edge who win today's stage. In terms of the GC contenders, the top team was Tinkoff Saxo. Let's have a look at how their stage one went.
Tinkoff Saxo starting really, really well for Alberto Contador. It's at a really good time at the first part. Fastest indeed it was. Contador, Basso, a couple of others just losing the wheels slightly towards the end. And able to come across the line strongly. One of the best times at the time. No pink jersey though in the end, and perhaps not a bad result altogether. Many said and noted that Contador looked tense, looked nervous, perhaps influencing things. Ready with Tinkoff Saxo at the start of a big year when he's aiming to do the Giro Tour double. Feat's not been achieved since Marco Pantani in 1998. Contador officially a one-time winner of the Giro. he will feel on the road that they were two occasions. One in 2011 before it was stripped and given to Michele Scarponi after Contador's involvement in the famous clenbuterol scandal. Just the first little images that he was struggling to hold that final wheel. Managed to hold on there towards the end as they came into the final couple of kilometres. And a big ride in the end, driven by the likes of Manuele Buaro, the big Italian time trialist. Tosato in there as well. Kreuziger riding hard. Ivan Basso doing early turns before he was dropped at the end as well. Contador was kept in the perfect position. Really good time for the Pistolero.
So it's Tinkoff Saxo who took top spot amongst the GC contenders. Were you at all surprised, Juan Antonio, that Tinkoff Saxo rode so well today?
They actually did. I am surprised. I have to admit, they rode better than I expected. They beat by far teams like Sky and Stana, so they show a great performance. We were talking before about their experience, probably not the strongest team, but they showed that from the GC contender, today they've been the strongest.
Their average age, though, is higher than a team like Sky and Astana, of course. Does that mean that they had to work harder today? It might take it out of their legs later on?
It depends. It's a team time trial, so as you say, the average of age is that's what it counts. But they also know experience, how to make yourself, how to have your best legs for today. So they are not nervous. They've been easy in the morning, keeping in the rhythm, going to see the course, doing a warm up. They know. So that experience that makes you feel better days like today.
Well, we'll think more about Tinkoff Saxo and especially Alberto Contador tomorrow. But in third place today was Team Astana, who crossed the line with Freddie Aru at the head.
Fabio Aru for Astana. As Italians numero uno hope. Lots of talk in the newspapers, particularly the big pink newspaper after which this race has taken its colour. Tipping this man for third place. Podium 12 months ago, third place. This time he brings a team dedicated to his cause. He is the sole aim for Astana. No Vincenzo Nibali, actually organised desperately getting back the former winner and reigning Tour de France champion. He preferred to concentrate on July. Astana Pro team, though, setting the early time. They were the fourth team out onto the road today in the sunshine. And for quite a while, after crossing the line here, they were sat on that winner's throne. Only knocked off in the end by Orica Greenwich. There is Fabio Aru. He wanted that pink jersey if they had set the best time. Just to send a message out to those 15 race days. It was a strongish team. The likes of Dario Cataldo, former Sky rider, and quick-step man who's a former Italian national time trial champion, was in there to drive them along. Luis Leon Sanchez, a former national Spanish time trial champion as well. Back at the World Tour after his year at Caja Rural in Spain. A strong team for the mountains, with the likes of Mikel Landa, who's been so strong, winning a stage in the Basque Country and finishing second to Richie Porte in the Giro del Trentino. Fabio Aru had to miss that last preparation race in the end. I think he'll be very, very happy seeing how his colleagues have gone. Loads of fans on the side of the road today, heading towards San Remo. And the times were looking good all the time. In fairness to Astana early on, they only had some pretty weak times in the end to get the better of. So they would set the best times all the way through at the 9.9 kilometre time check as well. Head into the kilometre-long tunnel early on with plenty of confidence. Astana had a winter full of problems. Doping scandals from last year carried over. A lot of people, a lot of fans not too happy to still see them on the World Tour, but they work hard to keep their licence. They are here. Now they are here. They are ready to work hard and try and win the race. Aru has been up the mountains very, very close here in Sestriere. Back onto the road, back at sea level, and riding into a very, very good Giro d'Italia start. That's Fabio Aru.
So Astana 6 seconds behind Tinkoff Saxo with Fabio Aru. I said Freddie Aru, of course, thinking of the footballer Freddie Adu. My mistake. But anyway, Juan Antonio, Fabio Aru, he's lost the weight. He had dysentery in training camp. How did he seem to you and the performance of Astana?
He seemed to me super skinny. When I was walking to him after the set, I looked at him and said, "You're very skinny." He laughed. He was smiling at me, so he knows that he's in a great shape, great condition. And I spoke with him. We talked also about the team. Also this morning with Luis Leon, when we were riding at the course, and he said, "Yeah, we're very happy with the group, with the team. They look pretty much solid." So hopefully, Freddie Aru, actually, he's another contender. He's another contender for sure.
He is, of course, a contender. You've talked about maybe his team not having the experience, but they looked focused today as well. Where were their big strengths today?
Strength. They are strong, and they're probably happy, and they have a great leader like Fabio. And probably when a great leader like Fabio is showing that he wants to be good, that he wants to get that jersey, that he's focused on being on the podium in the Giro d'Italia in Milan, that makes a lot of things. And they have strong riders. They have Tiralongo. He's such an experienced guy. He's been in cycling for years. They have guys like Luis Leon, which is someone not young. So Cataldo, he rode with Sky, so he probably knows the tactics a little bit of Richie Porte. So that gives strength to the team. So those little things will make Astana putting them as a main contenders of GC.
It seems like they have a good mix. How important is the mix of riders within the team on a Grand Tour?
I would say more than the mix is the way that mix gels, and that makes, I mean, every rider gels into the team and the atmospheres. And I mean, as we were riding this morning with them, and afterwards with Fabio, they looked pretty much relaxed. They really looked like he was talking a lot about the group. So probably that work is done. So probably they didn't arrive here, like trying to work on the group, on the team, and all those, and that mix. So that's probably that work is done, and they're happy and confident on that.
Okay, well, let's hear from the team leader then, Fabio, not Freddie Aru.
Contento di essere qua al Giro e l'affetto della gente
really
una cosa spettacolare, tantissimi tifosi e
spectacular thing to see so many fans out there on the road.
Hai parlato del gruppo, la squadra sembra una di quelle più forti, soprattutto quando arriva la salita.
Ma la squadra è la cosa
You've got one of the
più
strongest
importante,
squads,
è
certainly,
uno sport di squadra e
as far as the mountains are
essere
concerned.
un bel gruppo è quello che fa la differenza.
Yeah, we've got a really good group here,
Siamo
really strong team in the mountains,
tutti
as you say.
assieme, e quindi
I think we're going to try and do everything together.
Grazie Fabio, in bocca al lupo.
That's the important thing.
Seconds, they go top of the leaderboard with an average speed of 53.7.
Ethics Quickstep and Rigoberto Urán. Not a bad start for them. They came very, very close to setting what would have been the fastest time at the time. Just a handful of seconds off Astana when they crossed the line, but of course Orica Green Edge was to come after that. Tom Bonan making his Giro debut, but riding for Rigoberto Urán. Bonan crossing the line first, hoping to take pink. Wasn't going to be the case. Ethics Quickstep, though, with a fairly solid start.
So Ethics Quickstep just 6 seconds behind Astana. Rigoberto Urán, of course, looked just as focused as the other GC contenders, Juan Antonio. What was your opinion of Ethics Quickstep's performance today?
It was great. I mean, of course, they having guys like Tom Bond and Ilokai's big engines to ride on this course, and Rigoberto, he was showing happiness. He was happy that he was in front of guys like Richie, but he was saying, well, still a long way to go, but he was pretty much happy with today's performance.
And Tom, your old friend, how did he do?
He rode fantastic for sure. I mean, I haven't looked much of, couldn't speak to him, but I will do it later. We have 3 weeks, but he probably is. I was talking to him yesterday, and he was super happy being in the Giro. First time he's in the Giro, and they don't have. Ethics. They don't have a strong team for the mountains. They only have like Seri and a few other guys, but it seems to me like they have a stronger team for rolling and flat stages. But that might be enough. Who knows? At the end, I think that Rigoberto, he will do a great time trial in the second week, and who knows? He might go on the attack on some climb.
Okay, so that's 3 of the main GC contenders. Let's now deal with the team of the 4th man, Richie Porte and Team Sky.
Richie Porte was aiming to win his first ever Grand Tour. Best ever in a Grand Tour, been a 7th place at the Giro d'Italia in 2010. Debut in the race. Had a massively strong Sky team with him. Vasid Kirienko, Robocop as he's affectionately known, pulling the group in towards the final few hundred metres. They look close, not close enough for Richie Porte. So a little shake of the head as he came across the line. Very diplomatic in the interview afterwards. But at the time he was around 15 seconds down, I think, from the top time that had been set. There we go, 14 back from Astana. That was to be further knocked back with a great performance from Tinkoff Saxo, of course. And Orica Green Edge, the eventual stage winners. That's how it looked at the time. Let's get Juan Antonio's opinion.
So Team Sky didn't win today's team time trial. They weren't even in the top 5, Juan Antonio. Many people watching will think that's a disappointing result for Team Sky and for Richie Porte. What do you think?
It depends. I mean, if you look at the classement, they finished 6th. But when you look at the gaps, it's nothing. I mean, 15, 16 seconds, that's not much. On the other hand, my opinion, and after talking with the guys when they were cooling down, is that I think they played safe. They prefer to play safe, get through the stage, get through the rhythm, and at the end they didn't lose much time. So I would say it's not a victory, but it's a good result.
Good result for Team Sky, good result maybe for all 4 of the main GC contenders. Tomorrow we have our first categorised climb. Let's look at the profile for stage 2.